like about the rules and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that I know the semifinals and how the finals work and stuff, but like I don't know how many they take for semis. They take 40 for semis, 10 for finals, yeah, and
Yeah.
then
And then like I think eight or 10 for finals, eight. And then the other difference, it could have been 10, but the other difference is just that you have to put your
yeah,
run in, right?
that's the crazy part. Because if you skip, you minus 100, but if you don't make it all, it's minus 100. Dude, that is so. Yeah, I don't know. That's harsh, man. That's harsh. That's
Yeah.
you got to be really good to not mess up there.
All right. So good question is how if you took this KWC, if you competed. Well, let me ask you
Hmm.
first. I think we have to know why didn't you compete this year and last year?
Yeah. So usually when I do KWC, I'm always in Japan. I'm always just out there with Sweets team and everybody else, and I'm feeling really motivated going into it the months leading up to it because I'm like, okay, well I'm at this point now where my skill level has reached a point where it's like if I go all out, if I actually like feel passionate about practicing and put time and effort into it, I feel like I can get a good result that I'm proud of. Um, so that's my main motivation. And now that it's online, it's no hate to Goken. I don't hate Goken. I think it's amazing that they're doing this every like these past 2 years because it allows honestly essentially even more people to compete than ever. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was 700
Crazy.
plus
Yeah. Yeah.
this year. So that's the most ever, right? And I think it's amazing. I just for me right now, these past couple months, I was actually practicing for KWC for like a good like the first 3 weeks after they came out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I still have my KWC like world champion like seed for like because they do world
Oh,
champion
right.
seeds
Because
for
you get
like
in.
3 years. If you win, I'm like, okay, I have a seed. So it's my last year because it's been 3 years and may as well use it. But then as the weeks went by, I was like, I'm having like I kind of want to play Kendama in the limited time I have now the way I want to, and since I'm not like passionate about, I guess I guess my mind just wasn't focused on practicing this year. Really, it just wasn't um, a priority to me after a little bit, and then that's what kind of drove me to be like, okay, you know what? If I'm not going, all out, or like I'm putting my best into this, I don't want to like do
Yeah.
it. And I'm not saying I'll do that for every competition. It's just because usually it's like if you people compete for fun, that's totally great. It's just all about your own individual mindset.
Yeah.
And for KWC, especially for me over the past couple of years, it's been that's just the mindset I've had rolling with it ever since probably yeah after 2017 I was like, oh, I could actually do kind of good at this, and then 2018 I did good, and then 2019 did good, and I was like, okay, so it's kind of become the one comp now where I'm like, okay, I need to practice up if I want to like
Yeah.
you know impress my or not impress myself, but like do something that I'm proud of. And if I don't, and I'm just not at the stage yet where I can just go into it, I guess, and be like,
Yeah.
screw it, I'm just gonna do it, whatever, and just do what happens because I don't know, it's just not where I am yet. And it's not bad if people are like do it for fun, as I said, but it's just a personal thing right
No,
now.
I feel you, man. I was wondering if you're gonna do it this year, and I was obviously
Yeah.
looking forward to it because I love watching you play. I'm a huge fan. And then I saw on Instagram that you were doing like the knee bounce trick, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna do it.
Well, yeah, I was doing that because I wanted to do a 100-point prelim, and then
That was
I
the
had
one. That was the one trick.
yeah,
That was
yeah. So I
amazing.
was like, I'm practicing this one. That was the one trick where I was like, okay, I need to practice one for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
obviously, I need to practice all of them, but this one's like nobody does that.
crazy,
Like nobody
crazy.
does need that.
Yeah,
So I was like messing around with it, and then I was like, oh, I did it from inward stilt for the Sweets team edit back in spring, and I was like, oh, I can do it. And then I was like, uh, and then the motivation just faded away. But yeah, that's why I was doing that. Yeah.
so what I wanted to segue was
Hmm.
if you gave it your all this year, how do you think you would have done compared to the 2,100 run from Yasu?
Uh, I don't think I would have beat that. And I just don't think I would have. All out for me now is using the hour I have. Most days I try to play an hour of Kenama, and sometimes I can't do that. But an hour is probably max. Hour and a half is all my time. And if I were to go all out, then I'd be using literally 90% of the time to do KWC. So if I were to do that, I feel like I could have scored pretty good. But the tricks this year, oh, I'm sure when you saw the tricks, you thought of this. You were like, okay, Takuya's taking it. Like
Yeah.
you saw the tricks and you were like, Takuya, Tiblex is literally built for them.
Yeah.
So I, I'm I, I'm not making excuses. It's just how it is. Like I feel like they had the edge because they're so good at taps, and there were so many tap tricks, and it was just like, hey, you know what? I'm not complaining. I'm just not as good as them at taps, and it's just how it is.
Yeah.
They had a total advantage, not advantage. They were just the hard work paid off, and
Yeah.
they were just coming into it. They were already so good, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're gonna probably beast up. Like, oh, they're gonna be crazy. So for me, I don't think I would have beat that. I would have
Okay.
not beat Yasu, and I know I'm kind of sidetracking right here, but I do want to just say this because I feel like I was going to hit on this anyway. What Yasu did, that 2,100, that 2,000 point run. First he broke 2,000. What the heck? It just shows. It goes to show you every year, even if you think that the tricks are geared to a certain play style more than others, which to a certain someone's play style more than others, it's like no matter what, people are going to look at those tricks, and it doesn't matter how hard they are, they're going to grind them, and it's just going to push Kendama like that much faster.
Yeah.
And just people are going to show up out of nowhere, and it happens almost every single year. This one person or two or a couple people are going to show up out of nowhere and just be like blow your mind, and that's exactly what Yasu did. Is he took the tricks, and I can guarantee you, I don't until the Japanese preliminary round where he won it, I don't think a lot of people thought he was going to take it. Like I didn't think of Yasu as okay, yeah, that kid's going to win because I don't know, like it wasn't in the. I just thought Takuya or like
Yeah.
Tiblix because their tricks, and he comes out there, and I'm like, dude, like this kid has been putting in the work for this moment. I mean, you saw his run was just so stupid.
It was
but
almost like 100%. I mean, he compared to the other top three, he didn't miss that many tricks.
he didn't really miss, and it's getting to a point now where it's just you have to go big or go home, and he went so big. I mean, 10s, 11s, 12s.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing quick. No quick 5s, 6s, 7s.
You know
Just
what was
10.
funny too was that the other competitors had their order of how they wanted to do it, and he literally almost like didn't. I don't know. He obviously thought about it, but it was just 10s and then 11s and then 12s.
It's like
It was like
did he
like
think
maybe
about
he
it?
just didn't know. I don't know.
I don't know. He's like okay. He probably because sometimes some certain tricks, if
Yeah.
you align them a certain way, they have
Yeah.
fast transitions, and you can like quick spike pull out to the next one. You've seen it in other runs like that, but
Yeah.
in his, like you were saying, it's like okay, I'm gonna do the 10s and then the 11s. It doesn't even matter if an 11's easier for me than a 10. So I'm gonna do the 10s and then the 11s, and then just say all the hardest tricks till the very end. And it's like, okay, man, good luck with that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I saw him pull up with the run, and I was like, okay, he's not hitting that. That is just
Yeah.
too crazy. I said that out loud. I was like, no. And then about a minute and a half in, I was like, oh, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, he's hitting it. It's over. He got to the 12s, and I was like, why? I was like, why do I think he's gonna blaze through these 12s? Because they're 12s, and I'm like, oh wait, okay, yeah. I was just
What was
speechless after it.
the most impressive trick out of the ones that he did?
Oh, easy. Well, not just because stilt's my favorite trick, but he threw the inward stilt cushion. You see that 12? Nobody. Okay, people did the trip tap swap bird stalls. Not a lot of stalls in this one. Not a lot. Just a lot of taps, juggles, countflips. Classic. But when he that's at the end of his run, by the way. It's not at the start. It's at the end where he has to nail it.
Yeah.
And when he hit it's cushion stilt, cush tap, ghost or jug cush stilt, cush in, and it's like, dude, he got a second try. I saw it, and I was like, he after he got that, I was like, this kid is probably gonna win. I was like, that was the most impressive by far because juggles are so fast and templates are so fast and perfect for these up and coming, for obviously perfect for the up and coming slayers and all that, but you have to take time and like to balance the stalls, and you can to go from fast to just this is just, it's tough. And it's like,
Yeah.
he nailed it. And I was like, okay, that was crazy. That was it for me.
I thought you would say that because I thought the same thing. No other, at
Yeah.
least the top three, they didn't do that inward step trick.
No, no, not at
Um,
all.
but on that point, so what I want to bring up with you is in
Hmm.
2019, Rui landed 13 tricks.
Yeah.
I don't think we should talk about 2020, kind of different setup, right? With like the only level 10s and
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then Yasu and Maharu, they landed 15 tricks to get first and second, and then Tebelek to
Yeah.
get 18. What do you
Yeah.
think about this strategy of low trick volume, but
No,
doing
yeah.
the tricks that are like the hardest for more points?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked because I was about to dive into that earlier, but I had a feeling you're probably gonna ask about that. Yeah, I started thinking about that since 2019, actually. And Austin Donovan talked about it too in his Dama Nerds, and he was brought
Yeah,
on to to the Dama Nerds, and he talked about that. And I started thinking about it a lot because in 2019 I hit like 20, maybe 20 something tricks. Like I don't even know. I don't know. I forgot what Austin said in his interview. He said I hit like 22, 20, I don't, something like that.
yeah.
And it got
I
second.
have 19, but it could be 20.
Okay, 19. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
either way, it was a lot. It was a lot more than Rui. And
13,
when
13.
Rui hit 13 and one, and I was like, dude, you just look at his tricks, and they're all just high level, and it's like, wait a second, have I been doing this wrong the entire time? It's like because earlier before that, it's always like if you go super fast,
Yeah,
it's usually going to work out. Like you don't want to get stuck on a trick, so that's why you kind of do those sevens and eights, or like maybe like a quick 5 or 6 at the very first start, and that's what I've always done. And then when that didn't work in 2019, because you can still get stuck on a trick even if it's not the hardest one, and that's what I did. I,
yeah,
I I remember the exact trick that messed me up, and it wasn't a 10, it wasn't an 11 or anything like that. It was just a simple mess up. So it's like if you mess up on the easier tricks, it's even worse than messing up on the harder ones. Essentially, I
yeah,
don't know because anything can screw you up because all it takes is one miss to break your flow. And so ever since then, I'm like, dang, I and I haven't competed yet since 2019, so I haven't put it to the test myself. But as you've seen, 2019, 2021, 2020, I forget how Takuya's run was in 2020. I'm sure it was high level points, but the 2019 and 2021 for sure were just low, like low amount of tricks in general,
yeah,
but just the highest levels, just the highest levels, like 10, 11, 12 you saw this year, and it's what worked. It's just straight up what worked. And I will say that you saw Takuya's run was just different. Like it was kind of like it reminded me of like, oh, okay, he's doing the old strategy. He's like
right.
doing the quick, and the same thing happened.
Yeah,
He would have won if he hit all that, and I'm sure he can nail it out of the park every single time, usually, because I think that would have been 2200. And he had the quick tricks and all that. Like he had a random level 3 in there, right? Like
yeah,
what? Just a quick juggle big cup. I was like, okay, like that's okay, fine, you can do that because he showed up with like what 28 tricks,
yeah,
and you saw him moving at light speed, dude. He didn't miss for like 14 tricks in a row, maybe 13, 14. And you saw, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like it's been a minute and he's already have his run. And then he misses up on the level 10, right? Bryson's level 10, the inward lunar trip, juggle,
yeah,
inward lunar. That's what screwed him up. And it's like the same thing happened to me where the easier tricks can still mess you up. So
yeah.
I'm now thinking next time I go and compete, I obviously got to mimic what the winners have been doing. Got to go high,
So you think you
you
will?
know. I think I got to go high. I might still start off with like an 8 or a 9, but like that's
Yeah.
still high. So like yeah, I might change it up.
So I guess that I would like to go into your preparation
Mhm.
because that obviously influences it, right? Like, are you going to like, I mean, 2018, 2019, you started with like a spacewalk and then you went into like
Yeah,
a quick juggle spike. Like that's
yeah,
stuff that you'll practice with your run, but you don't need to learn that trick.
right, right.
So this type of preparation, it's like to do, I don't know, whether it's the cushion inward stilts, you might need to hone in on those.
Yeah,
So it's a different type of preparation. But I guess what I want to ask you is like in 2019, uh, you know, I guess from what you said just earlier, you're like try to practice an hour a day, but to hone in for KWC, you have to go like I forgot the word. It wasn't beast mode, but it was
Hey, beast mode works.
beast mode
So
works.
that was
Yeah.
just beast mode
But
works. We'll just use
so what does that look like to you? What is beast mode? I don't even want to say that. It sounds so cringy.
that.
What
Well,
like
usually, yeah, just putting all that time into it, being like motivated, being like passionate about practicing, because that's really what's gonna make you want to do it. Like you can't just. I don't know if any normal person can just force himself to do something they don't like forever like that
yeah.
and get good result. I don't know. It just takes a lot of willpower, and it's something I don't have. So for me, are you asking about like maybe 2018, 2019, where I was like doing that?
Yeah, just what that
Okay.
preparation looked like for those 3 months.
Oh yeah. So first off, I'm playing a lot more Kendama than I am right now. Just in general, like back then. Like
Yeah.
back then, it's just I had less other interests, and just the overall. I think that might be half of it. It's just the amount of time you have to play.
Yeah.
Just even if it's just jamming, all that adds up. And in 2018 specifically, I played probably the most Kendama I played like that year out of the most recent ones for sure, just because I was so focused on it. I was just like, that was it for me. And half the time I was playing, I played an hour and a half, just session I did a lot of story tricks, dares, whatnot, all that. And then I would always make sure I practiced at least an hour or, most days an hour of KWC, whether it be prelim, like 20 minutes prelim, because usually you have prelims down pretty fast. And then like 40 minutes, or if I was feeling really good, maybe an hour for a final run, and just keep doing that, keep getting it memorized, because you always want to go up there with it memorized.
Yeah.
And hone that in. And usually that's what you're doing for, I'd say, that's what I'm doing. I like the 2 out of 3 months total of those days leading up to KWC. So for me, that's what kind of going all out or
So it's
beast
like
mode.
90 minutes to 2 hours a day.
I would say, yeah, not
And
specifically
then also
KBC
with
practice.
session, right?
Yeah. Specifically with KBC practice, it might have been an average of hour 60 to 90, but then with session on top of that, that was
3 or 4
an
hours a
hour
day.
at least. And then so I was playing the Kendama a lot, and that's what helped a ton. Yeah.
Okay, so for KWC specifically, 90 minutes to 2 hours a day. Do you have like a regimen of like, okay, in May I'm gonna do this, July I'm gonna do this, August I'm gonna do this, or is it just like, and like how do you also on top of that, how do you
Yeah.
decide what tricks you want to do?
Okay. I would say the first month, you're usually I don't start off really fast. Like I don't see all the tricks come out and just start going at it, just doing my run. I just kind of like I take a couple days, maybe a week or even 2, just to be like, okay, like what tricks do I really want to do? Like what tricks do I already have down? Like that you were saying, like I don't need to practice for, and I don't need to grind or anything. So I got to get those in for sure. And it's usually just a lot of me looking at the tricks, to be honest. Like I don't really set a run, like a prelim run for like a week, like a final one, a week or maybe a week and a half or 2. And so the first month is always just getting that prelim figured out, getting the prelim down, because usually I don't want to make a final run until I'm like, okay, I can actually get into the finals.
Yeah.
So it's like I prioritize that first, and then about after 3 weeks to a month after that, I usually did, started playing in my final, messing around with it. Which was like what tricks were quick and quick transitions, because it's always good to have a couple quick transitions there to help out with those couple seconds. And after finalizing those, that's about a month and a half in after the tricks get released. And then from there, I'm doing finals run 2/3 of the time, prelims 1/3 of the time. And then pretty soon it's like finals 3/4 of the time, prelims 1/4 of the time. Because later and later you don't even care about prelims anymore, because you already think you're going to make it if you really are trying. Because it's like, I can nail those every time. It doesn't matter. It's like, for me, if I can get 10 tricks, all my prelims in 3 minutes instead of 5 in 3 minutes, that's when I'm like, okay, like I'm good. Like
So
that's
when do you start timing yourself?
when do I start timing myself? That's a good question. For prelims, if you're talking about, are you talking about just both
Yeah.
or?
Yeah, both. I
Okay,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always timing. You
Okay.
always timing it. I don't even care if I know I don't have it on lock. It just, as for prelims go, it's because you might surprise yourself, and you don't want to waste. it's like you could waste a lot of time doing a prelim that you like have on lock, but you could also that instead of like doing a prelim that's higher, where you could also be on lock. You gotta just time yourself in the very beginning, and that's what I always do, just to set the bar. Like, okay, can I do this? And it's like, okay, I can. We can go up from here just right off the bat. And after that, I time myself for finals usually right away. After I have it like mostly memorized, like because what's the point of like timing yourself if you're looking at the sheet half the time, So
Yeah.
so that's for me. And then you asked about what tricks I want to
Yeah.
what tricks I add. So I always like to get a couple stalls in there, because I feel like I'm pretty good at stalls and they're pretty clutch towards the end, for me at least. And I always have like, well, actually, in the recent years, KWC hasn't really had too many stall tricks, but I definitely try to get those in there, like at least one or two, three
Okay.
maybe, because I feel pretty confident on those. And I usually start out with quick. They're usually just swap tricks or like juggle tricks because those for me and are pretty fundamental and they're fundamental for a lot of people nowadays. So I start off with those. Usually, I notice I always towards the end of my run, all the tama tricks that I'm doing all the tama tricks, every single one, like lunars, lighthouses, at the end of my run there. But if I had to be very general about it, it's like 60% juggles, 50, 50. No, it's over half. It's like it's over half. It's like 60. Balance tricks, as in like lighthouse lunars. That's probably a good 20. That's because they're you want to have those in there because usually those are hit or miss, and by the time you're dialed, it's always hit. And then probably like 10% stalls, and the other 10% is just, well, what I've been doing the past couple of years, just doing those filler tricks where for the easy couple points there, and that's just those easy ones.
Why do you do tama tricks? You said you do tama tricks at the end.
I find myself doing that because it's usually I usually keep my hard tricks for the end. Well, yeah, I usually keep my hard tricks for the end. So up until now, the hard tricks have usually been tama tricks, and also I feel like when I play kendama normally, I just always do tama tricks for the most part. Like I do birds and everything, stalls, Ken grip stalls and whatnot. But if I'm like really having fun with kendama, I'm always going to the tama. Like I always do tama tricks.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, give me an example, like their 2018 run, if you can think of. I know it's been a minute, but I remember like the one that was super sick was like inward juggle, inward toss, inward toss, inward toss. Right.
Yeah.
You did that closer to the end.
Yeah.
What else?
I did. Yeah. So I did the still backflip. Still inward backflip.
Yeah.
And I spiked that. When I spiked that, I knew I'd won, so I just went crazy. I just went like to the tricks. After that was just like, okay, these are bonus, and then I ended up hitting that tap inward one, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, so I had the stilt one. Geez, I'm blanking now. What? I definitely there was a light. Oh, there's a lot. Oh yeah. The Yuki Yao's lighthouse trick. It's like 2 turn up, insta double inward, double flip swap. It's like it's just at the end. It's like I'm doing all the lighthouses. Oh, the lunars, the backflip lunar, lighthouse, inward lunar, lighthouse, insta inward, insta backflip, inward lunar. So I'm having those all at the end because, dude, I don't know. Tama tricks, they just stick. It's either they stick or they miss, and it's just once you're honed, they'll usually always stick. So it's like it's a good gamble to take, and that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Nice. So, all right. Well, we hit on strategy of doing less tricks for more points. You don't think you would have beaten Yasu?
Yeah. No.
Practice for KWC. All right. So I meant to ask this in the beginning, but we'll ask you now.
Okay.
Tell me about your KWC experience from like when you first went and what you placed to 2019.
Okay. 2016, I'm going in there like just stoked to go to Japan. Like it's my first time. I'm 16 years old. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I'm like, oh, I'm going across the world for Kendama. I'm like, this is insane to me. I never thought it happened. So I'm just stoked to get there, and I don't even care about the finals. I don't care. I'm just like, if I can get through prelims, that's all I care about. I'm going home that's a W for me.
Yeah.
And so I lace the prelims, and I'm hyped because I know I had to get enough score to get in, and I get in like maybe at the very bottom of the left side of the board. What is that, like 18? I
Yeah.
don't know. And then so I'm in there, and I'm like, yes, like I'm so hyped. I think I got like 74. I know, so sick. I got 74-point prelim, and I was so hyped. And the next day, I'm making my run the morning of finals. I'm like, huh, how do people do this? And then, and like, I'm just on my phone, just like, okay, so this one, this
Rules.
one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and I go up there with like I didn't even go up there with a sheet because I was like, I might like I ended up forgetting tricks anyway, and right after I got off there, I was like, dang, I should have practiced for finals. Because like obviously, so I got 12th my first year. Just didn't practice for finals, so I don't
Still
know. I
pretty
honestly
good.
did better than I expected, to be honest with you. I was
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And then 2017, I told myself, okay, I can make it to the finals. Like I did it last year, I can do it this year. I put a little more time into finals practice. I wouldn't say I went really hard at it until I got to Japan because my motivation just wasn't there yet. Sometimes you just can't force yourself to be motivated to do something. It just has to come depending on your surroundings, your environment, and it's things like that. So I guess I wasn't there yet. And
Yeah.
so when I got to Japan, that's when I was like, okay, I've got my prelims down for sure. And now I'm going on a part of my finals because I planned to run out right before I went there because I was a little more dialed into it. But then that's those 2 weeks, actually a week, maybe 8 or 9 days before KWC, had time to practice, and I ended up getting fifth. And I was like, oh, what? Like that's actually because I thought I would even even so it wouldn't matter. I thought I was gonna get six, and I was like, oh, really? Oh, sorry. Can you still hear me? My earbuds just
Yeah,
died.
I can hear you. Yeah, yeah. You're good.
Okay. I don't think I can
you hear
hear
me?
you. Hold on. So sorry.
How
Can you
about
hear
now?
me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
oh yeah. My bad. My bad. It's
Maybe
my left one didn't die. My right one did.
just
Weird.
going to it, maybe we should just go to your computer or is it your phone?
I'm
Just
on my
press.
phone right now just because it's like it's just higher quality, I think, on the camera.
So if you want to just, I mean, your other earbud's gonna die soon, right? You think or no?
Probably. I don't actually think it is. I think
Okay,
it's
all right,
pretty
all
fully
right,
used.
fine. All right, we'll do it. Okay.
I think it's pretty up there. I'll let you know if I hear a low battery, but I
I
don't
have
think it
not.
is.
Yeah, yeah. Never do.
Cool. Anyway, so I got fifth, and at that point I was like, because I thought I was gonna get six, and when Jake Fisher got, I'm sorry, Jake, when Jake Fisher got called for six, I was like, because that must have been I barely beat him, and I did, and I was like, oh, like I got top five. That's actually insane. I was not expecting that at all, and I would have been so hyped for six, and because I didn't know I was gonna do that well,
Yeah.
and I got top five, and I was like, okay, I'm like running up there on the stage, and I think I got like 979, right? 979. That sounds right. So really close to 1,000 there, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, like I knew I didn't have the run I wanted, but I still did great, just in general. And I was like, whoa, like if I really, really just not this year and last year I didn't do, the full potential of what I could have done, and I was like, next year, what if I like just went all out? And you know, a couple months later, MKO 2017 hits. I felt like that's where I started getting my momentum into 2018 because I started going. I was doing really great, really well at events, and I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Like I literally was like, "What the heck is happening?" And then I started playing Kendama so much because I was like, just so passionate about it. That's all
Yeah.
I was doing. I had the time, had the energy, and then KDC rolls around, and I'm like, okay, I remember what I told myself, like if I do what I wanted to do back then, just go hard for the prelims, go hard for the finals, I think I could, maybe even win this thing. And because I got top five, and I was like, if I went hard, I could totally beat that. And
Yeah.
I show up, and the whole day I'm just thinking like I get to finals and whatnot, and on the final day I was just doing my run in the back, consistently hitting like 1400. It wasn't anything crazy, but I was still hitting the for my practices. I was still like I was getting consistent 1400s every single time, and I usually don't watch people, to be honest, that day. I usually don't watch many people. It's because I'm just like I care, but like I don't care enough to stop and just get out of my like zone.
Yeah, you want to practice.
Like I like watching people. Don't get me wrong. I'll go watch my teammates.
Yeah.
Like I'll stop to watch Johnny, Zach, George. Bryson. Whoever else might make it, and um, I'll stop to watch those people. Most of the time, I don't. Even if it's like a really good competitor, like right, like I don't watch. All I do is I hear their countdown say 3, 2, 1, and that's when I do mine.
Yeah,
Like that's when I do mine. I listen for their 3, 2, 1, and then instead of using my timer, I'm like, okay, I'm doing mine, and it's like for me, it's like my 1v1ing them, like
yeah,
right, right. So that's what I'm doing, and usually at KWC they call you over in groups of like 5 or 6 to like the side of the stage, so you're just ready to go when they call you up, because it has to be pretty fast after one after another, and that's exactly what I was doing. Even when So went, and when who else qualified really high? Takuya. Anyway, Yutaro, Nobu, yeah, they all went like last with me, and every time I didn't even look at them once. I just wanted to just once they said 3, 2, 1, I was basing it off their cheers that they were getting. I don't know. I was doing some stupid stuff. I was like, am I beating them? Am I beating them? the entire time I was doing that. And then so my name finally got called, because I think I qualified first, and then I go last, and I'm like, okay, like I'm pretty sure if I just hit the exact same run I've been doing all day, I can win.
Yeah.
And I did. And then I won. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's it actually happened. Like I actually did what I was wanted to do, and it actually worked out. And I was just so blown away. So I got like 1447 that year, and I was just like, that's really high for me, because that was the first year they had. Well, was it the first year they had 11? No. It was the second year they had 11 to 12. Yeah. So yeah, I did like one of those, so it's whatever. But like yeah. Anyway, it was super sick for me, and then 2019 came around. I think I had still the game. I was still playing Kendama. I was studying abroad in Japan at the time. And I'm so sorry. Is this a question that you're like walking through every?
Yeah, 2019. Okay. Yeah, you're good, man.
We're good. Okay. So I'm in studying abroad in Japan, and obviously I know I'm thinking, okay, obviously last year like I practiced more, but I don't want to sacrifice my time, my experience like studying abroad in Japan for like a competition, because it's much more important to me right now. So I didn't practice as much, but I still took it just as seriously every time I did practice, because I would still carve out time in my day to practice. It's just I didn't have as much time to do that. I didn't have like ample time like I did in 2018, which is totally fine. You make do with what you got,
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I'm still coming to KWC like I can still win, like because I'm like I did it once, and then it's like I can do it again, right? And I'm having even higher runs than I did last year, like even with like the small amount of time compared to what I had the previous year, I was like, okay, I'm still doing good. Like I'm still making time to practice and still in those high runs, especially the days leading up to KWC. That's when like I was realizing like, okay, like I could do it again, I could do it again. And then I get there that day, I'm feeling really good. I think I had like a 1900 like in practice, and I was like, oh, okay, like I think I can do this. Like I know I'm not going to hit the 1900 on stage. Just realistically, let's be real here. It might not happen for me there, but if I can get that high, that must mean a couple hundred lower I can get maybe. My goal was to like, if I can beat my old record last year, I think I'm going to win. And I generally thought I was confident. Maybe I was too confident, because I went up there thinking like, okay, like I think I'm going to do this, instead of like, okay, all I have to do is just a solid run. Like I literally thought like I think I could like going up there. Like, so and then I missed once, and then I'm like, I just like got out of the zone, and just everything messed up in my head, and I was like panicking, and it's just that one, like I said earlier, one thing can just mess you up. One trick. That's all it takes. And it's just like it can screw you up. So to be honest, I actually don't remember what I got like points wise.
1240. And then Rui got
Oh,
1308, so not that much more than you.
oh, oh, dang! I got 12. Okay, all right, yeah. So that's so
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so that I wasn't too far off, but I knew I botched it. And even when I came off, people were like, "Dude, I think you won." And I was like, "Dude, if I won, that does not feel like a W for me."
Right,
And
right.
so it was just a mental thing there. And turns out I didn't, which was, it's all good in the end. But um, yeah, that I would say as the years went on, in general, as a recap, my you know motivation and passion to practice and just do that and really focus, go all in for it, what just grew because
Yeah.
every year I realized, oh my god, I can do better, I can do better, I can do better. I win, I go again, I think I can do it again, something messes up, it's all good. I got second, I'm not gonna cry about that. But like
Yeah.
yeah, but like it's like yeah, it's just every year I got like more motivated because I realized I can do better and better. And then I would totally like to say like be more present with it because I haven't, even though like just say more recent dates, but like I haven't competed in the last year, so that's where I stopped. But um
How many points were you shooting for 2019? I guess like it's different nowadays because nowadays you have to have a pre-planned run.
yeah,
But like, do you have like a run in mind? Do you have points in mind, and then all these extra tricks you can add on if you get done? Or
yeah, I usually I don't actually like, I know you have to do it now and like set your run to a certain amount of points, just like online. I hope they change this rule just personally when we go
yeah,
back in person. I think because it's easier to look at in person and judge. So I don't think that's necessary. But anyway, before that, I don't really have a run where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit all these tricks and it's this amount. It's more like steadily, steadily building on what I've been able to hit and
okay,
what I think I can hit next.
yeah,
I do memorize like when I'm about to break 1,000. That's usually
yeah.
because after I do a run so many times, I'm like, okay, this is when 1,000 hits, and then after that, I'm usually like, okay, I'm in the
Just trying
thousand.
to
That
go
means
for
I'm good.
different tricks. Just trying to
I'm
like,
going I'm going for the hard tricks at that point, and like
yeah,
going for maybe tricks I didn't really practice too much, rare, but that might happen.
yeah,
And it's more like it's more about convenience sake, to be honest. It's more like I don't want to like add them up every time, So like
yeah,
from the beginning after I calculate it, because I just want to be like, okay, from this trick I got 1,000, and now I can calculate whatever I got after that.
yeah,
So and then you add on your prelim and whatnot. But usually, I think to answer your question, I think I was getting 1,600 in 2019.
yeah.
1,400 to 1,600 because I wanted to obviously beat my run from the previous year. So that's what I was shooting for, 1,400, 1,600 around there. And fortunately fell a little short, but it's all good.
So when preparing, you mentioned that you start timing yourself right away. Um, how much of the session, the 90-minute, 2-hour session, is you learning new tricks that you haven't done before? And how much is it like, how quickly do you get those new tricks if you have to learn them? And then how much is it like finally just like, okay, this is my run, and then like you're timing yourself and you're just gonna try to go for which ones, even if you haven't hit them before, or like do you make sure to hit
Okay.
them all?
Yeah, okay. When I see tricks on a list, 80% of them, maybe 90% are tricks that I'm like feel really comfortable with.
Yeah,
And there's only a couple tricks on there that I'll actually have to be like grind and be like, okay, I can now. Because to be honest, when I don't like, you just feel there's a lot of doubt when you look at a trick and it's like, oh, if I can't do that now, then I can't do it in the run. And it's like at least for me, it's like I know if I'm not feeling confident when I see it, I'm like, okay, that one might not be in there for me because
yeah,
it takes a long time to master a trick to the point
it
where it's just
does to
like
master it for the
like I,
competition,
you yeah,
yeah,
it just takes a long time to get a trick down so down that you're gonna be able to that you can like do it every single try on a run, be able to nail it on stage. It takes a long time. Like it,
yeah. That's
I don't
interesting
know.
because I feel the same way. Like, for me, if I go back to like NAKO 2019 tricks or 2020, like I'll have those mastered after a
Yeah,
year, right? But
yeah,
like
right.
the 1 month or 2 months, I can't
You just
master
can't.
them. Yeah,
No, no, because even because I don't think anyone wants to just do those same tricks for 2 months straight and not have like fun with Kanala. Like I don't know, it takes a lot of
yeah,
willpower to like just set your mind on that. And yeah, you'll get them gradually over time. So it's not like even with 2 to 3 months for KWC, it's like very rare that you all the trick from zero, and then throw it in my run because it's like it's
Gotcha.
not really feasible. I will say though, tricks that I don't have on lock that I do put in my run are usually the ones that I can tell will be really easy if I
Yeah.
just figure out the trick.
Gotcha. Give
And
me an
that's
example.
that's okay. I will actually choose a perfect example from this is an old one. This is very old, so this isn't gonna seem hard at all. 2016, there were two tricks for me, and I thought, okay, those look hard, and I can't do them right now, but I know if I figure out the trick, a little technique, it'll work out. So it was Brandon Meyer level 7, which I forgot to do in my final run because I totally just didn't go up there with a plan. But anyway, did it in prelim. It was inward lunar, inward axe, inward lunar trade spike. And back then I was like, how do I like how like
X.
because like you have to for back then I was like not used to moving my
Yeah.
wrist
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
axe. I didn't know that. I thought I was like, do I do that? Like, do I do that? Like, I don't know. I don't know how. And it took me a couple. I did not get it. I did not get that mastered for a little bit.
Okay.
I was able to get it and stuff, but I didn't feel like I had it no matter what.
Right.
And so once I mastered that, I definitely put in my prelims, and it became one of the easiest because it's like you figure out the trick to it, and it just clicks.
Yeah.
The other one was I don't think these were very popular back then. It was also 2016, so a long time ago. Still, it was a level 8 by Eric Martin from Terra. Still not off to Lunar, just like a,
Gotta go to the Dama.
you know, still there. Inward still, and then flip, trade, spike.
Okay.
And I was so not used to doing this, just this. Because back then the Kendamas were smaller and all the Kendamas were smaller, Lunar Mounds, was a little and it would usually look like this. Like you wouldn't it wasn't that easy to like just like
Yeah.
to just do that. You'd have to really find like get your knees into it and balance and like find the perfect moment.
Right.
And then so that was like tough for me. But like this part right here just killed me. And I
Yeah.
was getting so pissed, just so pissed learning it, man. I was getting so mad. And then once I finally figured it out, I was like, okay, I can put this one in because I figured out all it was for me was this and just a little trick, like little things like that,
Yeah.
like for me, that's those are the ones I'll put in if I can figure out the trick to them. Yeah.
It's a bit of a foreshadowing to in freestyle and a KO, you hitting around the Ken so easily. Remember that?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Isn't it around the Ken? It was still Lunar.
Yeah.
Lighthouse for
Right.
freestyle.
Yeah. I did that in freestyle because, yeah. I also thought that move was it was also the same thing. Like I would get to halfway and be like, how do I I don't know. It was just a technique for me because it's all in the it's like a lot about it like it being in the wrist there and whatnot. But yeah, once you master something like that, you can just take it on stage. And can you hear that? That's the ice cream truck out there. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay. Anyway, but once you figure out a trick like that, like it takes a while as we've agreed on and whatnot, but if you master it, you can just like put it on stage and even a freestyle KWC, it's just there. You don't have to think about it. I don't think about it. I went up there in freestyle and was like, okay, my first trick's gonna be around the Ken. I don't care if it's time consuming because I know I'm gonna hit it first try. And luckily, I think I did. So luckily, first second tee. So yeah, it's the way it works. Yeah.
It's interesting, man. So like, it sounds like to perform well at KWC, when you're considering mastery of tricks, it's almost better to just somehow, I guess, just become really good at Kendama and be familiar with most advanced tricks, and then
it's
hone in the run versus just like really for those 3 months is getting everything down because you need to have it so down, you need to have it mastered to do it on stage.
Right. I honestly, it's a big thing. It's like it's almost like you have to play a certain way, like you're like for a long time to even like have a chance of doing really, really good. I am so sorry.
They just parked it right outside your apartment, waiting for you to get.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's fine.
Okay, so yeah, I've been playing with the right play style for a good amount of time, and it's like for KWC. I'm not gonna say there's a right and wrong play style, but for KWC, I feel like I've had a play style that mimics it, and it's like for me, that's what gave me the big advantage. You can't ask a player that does mostly string tricks or
Yeah.
something that's so opposite from KBC and tell them to have 3 months and make like do well, make finals and do well. Like, it's just not
No,
it's not
it's a
enough
great
time.
point,
It's
man.
it's
Like
it's like yeah, it's just not enough at
if you
all.
take a fantastic player who's just not honed at taps, uh,
Yeah,
that I mean, they're not going to do well in this KWC.
you can't.
You know?
Taps take forever for normal
Yeah,
people. I
years
will
and
say
years
for
and
normal
years.
people,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
except for Takuya and Tib, like they're different. But
yeah.
yeah, it takes forever to even go up one. It takes just
Right.
so stupid. But yeah, just it takes a lot longer than 2 or 3 months to feel that confident and that reassured that like okay, I'm gonna go up there, hit it on the world stage, and then do it on the stage itself in front of like I don't know, like 1,000 people like that are
Yeah,
watching you. It's like it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. Yeah.
yeah. Like yeah. I guess to like sum that up, it's like um, you the competitions, what their tricks are, and how compatible they are with your play style is almost more important than how much willpower and how much practice you put in. You
Now
know?
that you're saying that, yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, it's totally it's true for me, at least from my perspective. You can't really. It's just you can't ask somebody like I can look at players right now, and even if they never practice for KWC, I can kind of tell like okay, if they practice, like they can do good because
Yeah,
they're already doing half the tricks on the list just seshing. And if I look, and then also some players are like, okay, they're really good at like their certain style, and it's amazing. Like but it's also like that's not the style for KWC, so I don't know if you're gonna do that well at it. It
yeah,
just I'm not like hating on anyone. Like I'm not like going out there and being like judging people like oh okay like you're not gonna be a competitor and all that. Like people you can be. It just takes
right.
it takes a lot more effort for someone who doesn't already play that way than compared to someone who does play that way and is going to excel with their practice.
Yeah,
So it's like
takes more than
it's
three
not
months. You know,
for me.
that's what
Yeah,
it
no,
is.
yeah, no, no, yeah. It's a lot more than 3 months. It's like
Like,
years.
yeah, right, right. And
Yeah,
even
yeah.
tricks come out in 3 months. Like it just takes more than that. Like you need to be ready.
Yeah, yeah. And usually the tricks you do end up working on are the tricks that are hard, but also within your play style. So it's like no, like I won't look at a trick that's totally not my play style in KBC and put it in because it's like that's not because it just I know it's gonna take me more than 2 or 3 months to be like feel so confident. But if I'm like look at a hard trick that's just right on my alley, I'm like if I dial that one in,
Yeah,
it will come definitely within the 2 or 3 months. So it's like it's definitely how you're I'm not gonna say how you're raised on Kendama, but just how the tricks okay, maybe I will, but it's just the tricks you brought up on and the tricks that you end up practicing that is a very big factor.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Honestly, for
Mm-hmm.
me, the way that I play, I'm almost trying to get away from new gen, but I just gravitate towards it so much because it's like I
Dude,
would
I
love
feel the
to
same.
be like, yeah, you feel the same way?
I feel well, okay, new gen for me is like still the taps and like
Yeah,
that juggle
yeah.
style
Leg
play. I
flips.
know some people will say, this pinches, cloud bounce, uppercuts,
Yeah,
loops. I'm for me, it's like I know that's new gen now, but anyway, I think we're both on the same page as
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
like
yeah.
flip tap. I'm like trying to mess around with pinches and uppercuts recently, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool because sometimes I'll feel really really bored with Kanama, and I'll feel like, gosh, I don't know, I'm not having fun playing, and then I'll just do something I totally suck at, and that just right there puts into perspective. Just going back to as like a relation to KWC, that puts in perspective for me. Like I can't get good at this style of move, like good enough to do it for a big
Right,
competition. Like I
right.
practiced string pinch for a good amount of time, like I was like, okay, I'm getting like okay at this, to hit maybe like the easiest level of it in an open style match, but like for it to be in like a really big combo for me, it's like not happening. Like it's gonna take a long time. Like you see people that do pinch nowadays, like flying guillotine and like
Yeah,
Chandler, like dude, they have spent years doing that, and it's
yeah,
like it pays off. You can just tell what they're doing is something I'll never be able to even like comprehend. So it's like, yeah. But I always end up gravitating back as well to just
yeah.
my own play style, and it's I can't. And at first I was like, is this what's gonna be good? And like, is this am I getting held back by this one up? But at the end of the day, it's like it's just easier to not think of it like that because whatever you're doing that's making Kanama fun for you is what you're gonna end up is how you're gonna stick with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is just my play style that I've been rolling with, and it's not gonna change to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. As much as I'd love to like be like a Marcus Lander who just he
Mm.
just creates tricks all day.
I
Like I would
know.
love to be like someone like that, but I
Yeah.
just have so much love for hitting a different triple lane late can flip line. You know, I
I
just can't
feel you.
I
I
can't
feel you.
stop it. You know.
I'm like, why can't I be creative? Like, I'll have a creative like
Yeah.
spark for like a really like just like a trick like once every 6, 12 months. Like it's not every day. I'm not
Yeah.
going out there bouncing off my feet, going to string late pinch. Like I can't do that. Like I
Yeah.
just literally can't. So
Yeah.
I'm chilling though with
Yeah.
the way I play now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll see you at NAKO. Are you going to be competing?
Yeah. Yeah, I will. I will. I will definitely be competing there. I think there will be a Sweets house, so I'm excited to do that and
Yeah.
see a couple of people there. Like I think the reason I say couple is because like there's gonna be like more than one Sweets house, so the people who come to mine will be
Oh,
a
nice.
joy.
That'd be sick.
But yeah. So I'm excited for it. NAKO is gonna be super fun with everybody there, so I'm excited. Yeah.
And then potentially KWC next year.
Yes.
See,
I
it's
actually think
international, so
yeah. I I hope it's in person because
I do too.
I just want to go up there and compete again on that stage. It's so fun. It's so fun. So yeah, I definitely look forward to next year because yeah, I think I'll be competing. So
Sweet, man. Well, hey, thanks for talking. We did like an hour.
yeah,
Appreciate. I mean, that's exactly what I like. I hit all the questions and
yeah.
you went into like really great detail. So I appreciate that, dude.
Thank you so much. I was worried about I was like a little straying away from topic for a little bit like half the time, but hey, if people enjoy
Uh,
listening or if you think it's good, then I'm happy.
that's great, man. That's great. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Isaac.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Good talking
All
to you,
right.
man.
Peace.
All
Yeah.
right. See you, dude.